From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Lehman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Tuesday night on News Channel 5. Plus, 2 nights away from game night over at Nissan Stadium. The Titans taking on the Jaguars Thursday night, 7:25. You can watch it on News Channel 5. Huge game for the Titans to get back on track after what they did Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts in a loss. Take your thoughts on that. How do you feel about this team after the loss on Sunday? Clearly a disappointing game in the way that they couldn't pull it out. But it was still early in the season. Texans lose last night. This is a Titans team that remains just a game back in the division right now. Jaguars not too far back, just 2 games back themselves. So there's a lot of opportunity left on the schedule, starting with Thursday night's game in a divisional matchup. 737-7767 if you want to get in on the discussion tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about Sunday's loss. We'll talk a lot about looking ahead to Thursday night as well against the Jaguars. Opportunity to go to 4-4 on Thursday night. I want to know this tonight on the phone lines. If I would have told you back in training camp or even in the spring, after the past 2 seasons when the Titans went 2-14 and then last year 3-13, if I would have told you that the Titans would get to the midway point of the year, Thursday night after the Jaguars game, and they would be sitting at 500 at 4-4, would you have signed up for that deal? Would you have signed up back in training camp for the Titans to be 500 with 4 wins at this point of the season, not knowing how the first part of the year would go? I think a lot of people would have taken that deal. But I also think the fact that they were sitting at 3-3 with a Colts team that had been struggling and was a bit beat up coming in on Sunday, and then this Jaguars game out there, I think there were a lot of people that the expectations completely changed. And they thought, oh, we can be better than that now. We have a chance to be in first place in the division. We have a chance to be above 500. And the expectations changed, and that's what was so disappointing about the loss on Sunday. So answer that question for me. 737-7767 tonight. If I would have told you in training camp that the Titans would be 4-4, which would involve now beating the Jaguars on Thursday night, but if they can do that, would you have taken that back in training camp? And now that you know the situation, will you be okay with 4-4? If they win Thursday night, even to get that 4th win, they will be tied with the Texans in the win column after Thursday night. Top the division. Now, going to have to beat the Texans and beat the Colts at some point if you're going to win this division, but that can come in the second half of the year. You can get revenge to those games in the second half of the year. Interested on your take on that tonight. World Series underway in Cleveland. Indians haven't won the World Series since 1948. Cubs haven't been in the World Series since 1945. 71 years for the Northsiders to be back. 108 years since they last won the World Series back in 1908. Some long streak is going to end over the next week for either Cleveland fans or for Cubs fans in Chicago and around the globe. This is going to be a must-watch series. The Cubs have been the best team in baseball all season long. I still think they're the best team in baseball, but the best team doesn't always win. And Cleveland's got the home field advantage. And for those people who maybe are casual baseball fans tuning in now because it's the World Series or because it's the Cubs, don't sleep on the Indians. This has been the best team in the American League for quite some time. And as you look at this Indians team, they've got some loaded pitchers up top starting with Corey Kluber, the guy on the mound tonight, a Cy Young Award winner who's got that stuff back this year. It's a good atmosphere there at the Jake, and they match up well with the Cubs, and they're hot. They played well in the playoffs. So don't overlook the Indians just because the Cubs are the story. And don't totally discount the fact that there's a little bit of a Cinderella aspect to the Indians. If the Cubs weren't seeking their first title in 108 years, the Indians have the third longest title drought in all of professional sports, going back to 1948. The only team other than the Cubs with a longer drought are the Arizona Cardinals. That's the only team in all of professional sports that has a longer title drought than the Chicago Cubs and the Indians. Well, Cubs obviously being the longest, Indians being third on that list. So somebody is going to be very, very happy for the first time in a long time when this series comes to an end next week. College football this weekend as well. Tennessee back to action, feeling more healthy, and headed to South Carolina Saturday night. Historically, this series has been really tight. The last 4 games that the Vols and Gamecocks have played have been decided by 3 points or fewer. Tennessee's preparing for another dogfight in Columbia, but honestly, if they can get healthy enough this week, and they say that the week off did them tons of good, if they can get healthy enough to get back out there, they are significantly better than South Carolina. This is a game that they should be able to take care of even on the road. And Middle Tennessee back in Conference USA this week after the massive win at Missouri. What a big win for Rick Stockstill and company to go on the road and be able to do that. Just a huge, huge win for the Blue Raiders. So we could talk anything tonight. We could talk Titans getting set for Thursday nights. Again, the big question I want to know from you guys, if I gave you the option 4-4 at the beginning of the year, would you have taken it? If the Titans could win on Thursday night to get to that. Is that something you would have taken after the last couple of years? And then the way the season's played out, how do you feel now? 737-7767 is the number. We can get your thoughts on that. Get your thoughts on Thursday night's game against the Jaguars. We can also talk some college football and, of course, a little bit of that World Series that just started tonight, the Fall Classic, on a very chilly and fall-like night in Cleveland. Got to take our first break. We'll come back, get to some of your phone calls, also get to some rapid reaction from Sunday's game of the Titans as well. Maybe even talk a little Predators before the night is over. We can go wherever you want to go. 737-7767 is the number. Time for our first break. Back with more SportsLine after this.